We're at the Greenwood Car Show, and I found not just a yellow Roadster, but I found the owner as well, and he is going to talk to us a little bit about it.
Yes, that's my yellow Roadster.
Yeah, this is David from
Hello.
the Seattle EV Owners Association, Seattle
Electric Vehicle Association, yes.
Yeah, we've already talked to some of these folks. Maybe these videos will run in sequence. Check it out. This is it. This is the real deal. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, this is a Tesla 2008 model year Roadster. This is the original Roadster, not the Roadster that a lot of people will be confused by, that they've been advertising for potential sale in the future, which is not actually in production. This one actually was in production from year 2008 through 2011. There were approximately 2,450 of these vehicles sold, produced, and then subsequently several of thousand of those, or some number of hundreds of them, have been subsequently crashed, and they've gotten to the point where crashed cars are valuable for the current car owners because they become parts cars for us current car owners.
For sure. And one thing I noticed that I'd never noticed before is these seats are so low because you don't have a battery under the floor.
That is correct. There's no battery under the floor. This is not like these S's or X's or even the 3s or the Y's, where the battery is underneath the floor and forms a structural member. Instead, the battery is in the rear, behind the seats, as it extends pretty much for the height of the vehicle, approximately, and is back about this far. So it's roughly rectangular in size, in volume.
These door sills are gigantic. Is there anything in there?
No, those are structural members that are basically box cross sections, and they form the two main rails that are the rigid member of the car, and then everything is sort of bolted onto those two cross structural members.
Because it's, banana shaped. There's nothing on top with the open top there to keep it rigid. Correct. With this much kind of
correct.
Torque
I mean,
and horsepower.
Even the doors are not really structural. It is all depending upon that low chassis that forms a structural member, and this is based upon the Lotus Elise chassis. It is essentially the Lotus Elise chassis with a new body styling made out of carbon fiber on most of it, and the front and the rear bumpers are plastic.
Wow. And these were available in any color you wanted?
No, they were available in a choice of colors, and then if you wanted to spend extra money, take it to a paint shop and paint it in your own color, which some people have done, and I've seen iridescent paints and all sorts of interesting paint jobs, but they were available in something approximately 10 to 12 colors.
10 to 12.
This is a brilliant yellow. There are also blacks and
it's
whites.
Got a hint of metallic.
There's a white one over there if you want to show that.
Kind of hard to see the metallic in the video.
Yes, it's got a metallic flake overcoat.
It's beautiful.
And there are a few that are
more carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
Is there anything to it that is not factory?
Let me think. Well, technically, this hood has been replaced. It was originally solid yellow on all of these members. And because this car got into a large crash, this had to be replaced because that was damaged to the point where it had to be replaced. So I put in this, but this was technically available from Tesla. That's where I bought the new hood. So it wasn't part of the factory build, but it was a Tesla hood.
So it's still authentic through and through.
This fin was also added, part of that crash, because my crash included both the front and the rear of the car.
Wow.
And this is a third-party piece that was added.
Looks nice.
There's a company that contracted to have those made by a carbon fiber specialist.
And you tow?
What?
Do you tow?
I do not tow. They say specifically when I bought that, do not tow a trailer. Use it only for carrying bicycles and such.
Oh, that's your bike mount. Good,
bike mount.
Sure. 138,000 miles.
Yes, 138,000 miles put on by me.
By you,
yes,
original
by me.
owner.
Original
and
owner.
And you knew when you bought it, this is an instant classic design.
Yes, I had a sense that it would be a staying power as far as how it looked, and I like the styling of it. even if somebody had told me that, well, nobody likes the styling anymore, I still would have said, well, I like the styling.
You like the styling.
Yes.
But the truth is, this form factor, they age well. They're always going to be eye-catching.
Right.
And it's still a fast, fun car, even though it was really just a proof of concept.
Yes, it really was a prototype. I mean, 2,450 copies is not automotive production scale by any means, by anybody's measure. It was a custom-built, low-quantity prototype to prove whether or not we can actually build an electric vehicle that people will buy. And with a brand new company called Tesla at the time, who was this small little company that everybody said, well, they aren't going to survive.
Well, they've never built cars before. How could they?
Right. Exactly.
How can they know what they're doing?
How can they know what they're doing? Nobody has started a brand new car company in the United States since the Edsel, and which failed.
Well, I'd say Jeep was probably the last successful
startup,
and
that was
the
in
50s?
the 40s.
40s. Yeah.
So there's been a long time where there was no new car company started, and when Tesla said we're going to build cars, everybody laughed and said, well, they're going to fail in trying to build cars because we don't think they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing.
Yep.
It's so beautiful.
Yes, I got my lunch and I put it in the trash and we're good.
Perfect. I just hope you got fed.
Yeah, thank you.
The wheels look great. These are the original wheels.
The original wheels. Nothing too fancy about them, but they were fancy enough.
Nice heavy brakes.
Yep.
Front and back, yeah.
Yeah, the brake rotors have been replaced. Those are extra third parties that it was a group buy of Tesla Roadster owners that decided somebody down in the Oregon area could make slightly improved rotors. So we bought new rotors.
Great.
That was part of that buy.
Yeah. And is there anything about the car that you think people might not know? Tesla fans specifically, not civilians, I mean people in the know that they wouldn't necessarily know.
No. This car, I've kept this car as much to the original idea and spec as I could. There is a new battery, which was the newest battery technology available from Tesla when I put a replacement battery in back in 2018. And they've subsequently come up with an improved new battery for this, which they're still producing in limited quantities.
But they are still producing parts for this.
No. No parts have been produced for this car since prior to 2011, and basically whatever Tesla has still in their inventory, which is becoming more limited by the day, it is either that or what's called a parts car, which is essentially a crashed Roadster owner that was not put back on the road, and that's been being used to salvage for parts.
And when you fix it, I know, of course, of Gruber Motors, but you were saying there's also one in Seattle here. Who are they?
Medlock and Sons.
Medlock and Sons,
yes.
And they do all kinds of high voltage repairs as needed?
They specifically work on this car. This is a
God.
car that they have numerous copies of in their shop at any one time to work on, and those cars will come from around the world in some cases, or they will. The owners will fly them someplace around the world for them to work on them. So there are specialists here, luckily in the Seattle area.
Wow. Very cool. Well, David, I do want to thank you so much for letting us have a look at your beautiful car. Check it out, all that good stuff. You're
welcome.
So in the comments, guys, tell me, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Subscribe if you haven't. Check us out on Patreon if you don't mind. All that good stuff. And stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you guys, you clever robots, at the next car show.